Hello, everyone. Hi, Lit Uppies. Happy Friday. I hope y'all are having a great day, are excited for the weekend. I'm going to close some of my stuff down here so it does not freeze up like it always does. All right. I am super excited to talk to y'all today because the topic I'm talking about today, my little bun looks funny here. The topic I've been talking about today has been coming up so much lately for like everyone in my world, like me, my clients, my friends, everyone. So when that happens, I always know that it's something I need to talk about and something that we're probably like all experiencing on some level, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about making the next decision in your business the best decision in your business. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. I still haven't decided. I should decide that. If I have a big decision that I made in my business recently, and I need to decide if I'm going to share that with y'all or just share with you some of my process around that. And we're going to get down to business here. So I've recently been making some big decisions in my business. I have this like one thing in particular that has been on my mind for a while that I've been looking for an answer for, needing to make a decision around. And I've been kind of like, I don't want to say dragging my feet, but like the right decision just hasn't presented itself until recently. And then I have a lot of clients who have been kind of like in decision fatigue, making big decisions lately. And so I would love to know if y'all have been. If you're on and you just want to say hi, say hi. If you want to give me an emoji because you have a big decision you need to make, I would love for you to drop it below. And let's get this conversation started. So I think one of the biggest problems with making decisions in this industry is that it kind of feels like everything's supposed to be perfect, right? We feel like everybody but us must know the magic secret or have the perfect business, or all their decisions must come from a place of flow and ease and it must be perfect, right? And we can literally make ourselves crazy trying to make choices because we are always searching for the perfect choice or the next right way to do it, or learning more before we do it, or figuring out more before we do it, right? And so our decisions become so intense and so fatiguing, right? Anybody feel that way? So intense, so fatiguing. Hey, that is so big for me. Like, we're making so many decisions a day as an entrepreneur. I know a lot of you have families, households, all of those things too. And it can be insanely fatiguing when we're trying to make a good decision in our business because one, we're making decisions everywhere else. And two, we feel like the decision in our business has to be perfect, right? Hey, Liz, thank y'all for joining me. So we make ourselves crazy and then it's hard to make a good decision. So research shows that the more decisions that we make, the more fatigued our brain gets and the more likely we are to not make good decisions, right? So I talk about this a lot, but basically even the small decisions that we're making throughout our day can contribute to the fact that like when we sit down at 9 o'clock at night to work on our business, we're maybe not making like the best decision, not because we don't know enough or need to learn more or aren't perfect or whatever, but because we're literally in decision fatigue, y'all. Hey, Liz. Yes, it's so true. Hi, Holly. I know I never wear my hair up. I'm like keep looking at the screen and like wanting to take it down, and I'm resisting the urge because it would look like a hot mess if I did. Hey, Elizabeth. Thank y'all for joining me. So we're totally fatigued. It's just, I don't know what to do about that. Those are my dogs. It's Friday afternoon. I'm getting an Amazon delivery. Please ignore them. Okay, so Allie. Okay, so this industry can make everything seem perfect. Plus, we are decision fatigued all the time. And what happens is we stop making good decisions because we forget that there can be trade-offs and that there is not the perfect decision. So the reason I titled this, Make Your Next Decision Your Best Decision, is because this is my new like battle cry and philosophy, which is you can make the best decision, not the perfect decision. this has given me so much freedom in my life, so much freedom in business, is trying to just make the best decision, not the perfect decision. Yeah, the pup struggle. I'm sure all of you that have dogs get this, or at the very least have kids that also interrupt your live streams. One of my dogs just had to have surgery on her teeth. And so she's out here with me, and the other two are like locked in their back room where they are when I do calls. So everybody's freaking out because they're not together. It's like I've just ruined their whole lives. Okay, so battle cry, make the best decision, not the perfect decision. I think that, so often we feel like if there's not a perfect decision in this space in our business, then we just don't know enough. There must be this other thing, right? Like there must be this other way to do it that's better. And that's almost never the case. Certainly there's always more to learn and we can improve, but so many of us are just staying so stuck in decision fatigue because we're looking and constantly searching for what is the perfect answer, not the best answer, right? So, there's always going to be trade-offs. And I think that we have to give ourselves permission for that. I think the other thing is that, do you ever feel like if you say like, oh, well, I'm going to decide this and I'm going to accept this with it, that everyone will attack you in this space like, oh, but like the law of attraction says that you should just decide what you want and make it be perfect and pick the exact thing you want and whatever. And I'm totally about manifesting in the law of attraction, but I think there's this way where we just confuse the shit out of ourselves. No more, and pick perfectly and ask for what you want and make sure you're not accepting any trade-off with getting that thing you want, right? Rita says you won't always make the best decision, but you can always make the best of everything you decide. 100%. That's a perfect way to say it too. So I think like giving yourself permission to like acknowledge the trade-offs is so important and like actually decide what's right for you as opposed to chasing perfection is like literally the way to make the best decision. So I'm going to give you guys some examples. I have a client who is choosing to work 15 hours a week right now because she's a mama and wants to be with her kids. And so she has switched up like what her goals are for her business, not because she's not going to grow a successful business or doesn't have big goals or because that's not coming, but because she doesn't want to have her goals set up in a way that means she has to work 40 hours a week, and she doesn't want to have those in conflict all the time, right? Have you guys ever done that where you're like, oh, I want to make whatever, 50K next month, but I don't actually want to do the work for that. So I'm in this conflict with myself all the time, right? And again, I'm just speaking generally. It doesn't have to be hard. I don't mean for this to be a debate about if you can work 15 hours and make 50K, blah, 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 right? It's more the point of if you set yourself up for success with the best decision, not the perfect decision, you will always win because it is the thing that will move you forward instead of keep you stuck. So for example, if she decided that instead of the best decision being to set this monetary goal, that she had to pick the perfect decision where she only had to work 10 hours, but also made 100K, she would just be miserable all the time because she'd be in constant values conflict with herself, trying to find the perfect way to do all of this. And that's what we all do to ourselves all the time, right? We pick the perfect thing and don't look at the trade-offs and are just constantly in conflict with ourselves. Like when we're doing one thing, we should be doing another. When we're working on this, we feel guilty about this. When we're not working on this, we think we should be working on this. And it's this never-ending cycle of like trying to chase the perfect outcome, right? Hey, Tanya. So another client of mine chose to have a really big launch. That sounds great. She has a huge income goal. We're going to get there. But guess what? She's also choosing with deciding to have a big launch, paying her team more, putting in more hours, putting in more effort, earning the money that she makes in that launch on the back end, right? So there's always, always, always going to be ways where your decision means that you're putting something else into it. There's some kind of trade-off. There's some effort or non-effort that has to be involved in it. But this is the thing. You get to decide that without making yourself wrong and with intentionally choosing what those trade-offs will be. So the best decision for that client was to launch and do that extra work and pay her team extra, and that's fine. The best decision for you might be to put off a launch if you have something big coming up in your life, or don't want to hold space for that many people, or don't want to put in the effort around that. And either way, it's okay. But what you shouldn't do is decide you want the results from that, whatever, the big launch, and then feel like, but you have to find the perfect way to do that while not paying your team and not putting in extra effort. And if you can't, then it means you're not in ease and flow and you're running your business from a shitty place. Am I right? Am I right? How is this the first time I've seen your hair? I never wear my hair up, Ashley, like pretty much ever. I was just saying earlier that I like have this like deep desire to pull it down right now, and I'm resisting the urge. Okay, so the other thing is too that sometimes when we're making the best decision, not the perfect decision, we're comparing ourselves to people who are so much further along than us. So like, let's use that launch example, right? Like say you're new in business and you have a pretty small list and whatever, and you're comparing yourself to somebody who is 8 years into business and has a huge list and is talking about how their last launch happened with so much ease. Amazing for them. And I'm sure it did. There's nothing wrong with that and there's no judgment there. However, what happens is then you try to make the perfect decision where you're like, okay, I'm going to do it just like them. I'm going to create all this ease. I'm going to launch and I'm going to get this result and whatever. And it's maddening, y'all, right? Like it is literally maddening because you're chasing perfect, not chasing best, right? So another example might be like choosing to hire a coach, right? So sometimes we're chasing the perfect decision around that. Like, can I find a coach who will promise me that I'll get a result? Or can I find enough clients that I definitely have this money right this second to hire this coach, even though I know this is what's going to help me get more clients, et cetera, et cetera. We're trying to make the perfect decision where all of the money is sitting right there and I don't have to be worried. And this person promises me this result and it's going to look like this. And so we're literally made crazy looking for all this to happen. Meanwhile, spinning our wheels for maybe months when we could have gotten support months ago and been much further along if we had just made the best decision, which may or may not be to hire a coach. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, let's say for argument's sake that the best decision for you would have been to hire someone. So you can spin your wheels for months and months and months waiting to have that money or feel ready or find the person that promises you the perfect thing, right? Or you can make the best decision, which might be, you know, put down the down payment, even if it feels scary, or make the first payment, even though I feel not ready or that next client hasn't signed yet, right? If you guys know me, you know I'm not a big advocate for saying if you don't pay for it, you don't want it bad enough. So that's not the case I'm trying to make here. But the case I am trying to make is stop waiting for perfect, start doing what's best. Because if you do, your business will move light years ahead versus spinning your wheels for months and months and months waiting for perfect. Does that make sense? So many people are spinning forever, waiting for perfect or chasing perfect, chasing that perfect launch that also doesn't involve hard work, chasing that perfect coach who's at the exact right price and who they already have, all the clients lined up for and blah, 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 when they actually wanted a client. You get what I mean? Like there's just this push and pull that we do to ourselves that is so crazy. Rita, my best decision so far, lit up partnership, boom. Oh, you just made my day, Rita. I love that. Thank you. Liz says, yes, it's crazy, right? We just put ourselves in these no-win positions and we think that we're chasing this like perfect win and really we're just in no wins all the time, right? A personal example of this for me was getting divorced this year, right? Like it was definitely not the perfect decision, y'all. You know what I mean? Like it was really hard and it was really not what I would have, wanted or what my intention was when I went into it. It was just the best decision for me. And I had to give myself permission to not do the perfect thing and waste years and years and years staying in this situation that wasn't happy and wasn't serving me, trying to make it perfect, trying to do the perfect thing, which is like get married once and make it perfect and make it work. I would have loved it if that happened, right? It just was not going to be, and it wasn't going to happen. And I could have spent years chasing that and waiting for perfect and waiting for perfect. Or I could have made the best decision. And honestly, it was the best decision. I'm happier than I've been in a long time. Hey, Michelle. So again, not saying you have to launch or hire a coach or work 15 hours a week or get a divorce, right? But I am saying it's time to give yourself permission to make the best decision on all of those, not the perfect decision. Where does the perfection come from? Loaded question, I know. I think it really depends. Like, I think we all have it rooted in one thing or another. But what I notice for a lot of my clients is that, and like self-included, I'm totally a recovering perfectionist, is that it really comes down to self-trust. Like, do we trust ourselves enough to do the imperfect thing or make the best decision? And do we trust that if that doesn't work out perfectly, that we'll be able to handle it and come back from it and manage it, right? I notice for me, like I say recovering perfectionist because it's something I've worked for so many years, but I notice for me, like the deeper I trust myself, the more I can let go of that, if that makes sense. And the areas in my life where I trust myself less, I have much more of a perfectionist tendency. Like in my business now, I feel like I've let go of all the perfectionist shit. I mean, does it ever rear its head? For sure. But like, I just trust myself implicitly and deeply in what I'm doing in business. And so I'm way less perfection-y. I notice that in certain other areas where I don't totally trust myself yet, I feel very attached to things being perfect or looking a certain way, primarily because I don't feel in control of the outcome, or I don't know that I can trust the outcome, or when it happens and it's not perfect, will I be able to manage it? Does that make sense? Holly, yes, listening to yourself is so important. Exactly. I mean, I think everybody has like this different way that it shows up for them, or maybe this different trigger around it. But I think at the heart of it, it's like, how deeply do we trust ourselves in that area, right? And I think this also goes for big choices to small ones. So a lot of the ones that I just mentioned were like big choices: hiring a coach, how much you're working, your next launch, whatever, divorce, big choice. But this is applicable to like the smallest decisions in life. Like, have you guys ever spent like all morning like ruminating over like what you're going to do later because you actually need to do this and you also need to get this done and how are you going to get it all done and and like you spend all that time creating so much mental fatigue that you're not going to make a great decision around it because you're trying to figure out how to make it perfect. Versus like if you would have just been like, okay, that thing's just not going to get done today. Best decision. Fine, let's go. The amount of mental fatigue would have diminished so greatly that like maybe you would have ended up getting that thing done later or not, but I promise you would have felt better throughout your whole day, right? She says, yes, I can see how trust is learning to let go of the perfect. Exactly. It's like, I trust that it'll be okay if it's not perfect, and I trust that I'll handle it if it's not perfect, right? Yeah. And I think sometimes we're just better at that in certain areas than others. And I think it's just, how deeply do we trust ourselves in that space, right? So, feel free to like apply this concept to this, from the smallest thing to like, what am I having for breakfast, to the biggest thing, like what is the next big choice in my business? But if you give yourself permission for it to be a good choice and not a perfect choice, you'll make the choice so much faster. You'll move forward so much faster. You won't spin your wheels for nearly as long. And you won't fatigue yourself so much that you start making poor choices. You'll actually make a good choice on the front end instead of having to make a shitty fatigue choice on the back end. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I guess, the big choice I've made in my business lately, which was taking up a ton of mental energy for me, you guys. And then finally, when I just let it go, it of course worked out. So I'm going to tell you the story. So basically, I have had a knowing for a while that it's time to raise my prices. I want to share a lot more about this next week, but my clients are getting amazing results. Absolutely amazing. I won't share too deeply some of those right now, but I actually recently went back and was looking at this year and some of my coaching clients and like how many have gone on to build 6-figure businesses that started with me at maybe like 0 or just a few clients. And it's over 10, you guys. So like, we're doing amazing work. Like, people are building long-term, sustainable, successful 6-figure businesses. And I've been at this price point for a while. And so I had this like deep knowing that it was time to change. But what I was not clear on is like what I wanted that to be. And nothing felt right for the longest time. I like struggled with it so much. Like, I tried on different amounts, tried on different ideas, and it just did not feel good because I was trying to make this perfect decision, right? You can ask some of the people that are my friends and mentors in this space. And like, I was fucking rooted in, like when they were trying to push me and challenge me and say, what about this? And what about this price point? Like, I'm sure I frustrated the absolute crap out of them because I was so rooted in on like, no, that does not work for me. No. Because I was like chasing this perfect decision around it. So what I did recently was I was like, I'm available to not have the perfect decision, but what I am available for is the best decision. And so I've been saying this mantra to myself, which like is I'm getting a divine download on the best decision for this situation. Like I'm expecting divine guidance on the best decision for this situation. And I just really have been like saying that over and over lately because I just felt that it was time to let go of this thing that I was chasing, right? And so the funniest thing happened. I get a call from my OBM, Megan Shuprime, Monday morning. She said, hey, I really, really need to talk to you. I was like, great, sure, what's up? She was like, so I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I got a divine download for you. And I was like, perfect, thank you. This is what I've been waiting for. I don't care if it comes through you or me. I definitely didn't specify to the universe, but it's here and that's great. And whatever it is, like we're going to do the best thing, not the perfect thing, right? And so we got the download. We're going to do the best thing, not the perfect thing. I'm definitely raising my rates. I'm doing it in a way that feels super cool and aligned for me, which is that I'm kind of making it similar to the partnership model. So all my partnership clients right now, they pay me 15% of the revenue they generate in our work together. So next partnership round, that's actually going to go up to 20%. Because my partnership clients are doing amazing, amazing work too. And I feel like the effort in which I give and the amount that I'm showing up totally fits, probably more than 20%, but we're going to roll with 20. And my regular prices for my 6-month coaching program are going to stay exactly where they are now. But on top of that, people are also going to pay me 10% of the revenue they generate in our work together. So it's like this way for me that feels so good to raise prices because obviously the price is going to be raised. You're going to make money. You're going to pay me 10% of that money on top of my current rate, right? But I don't have to pick this arbitrary number that I was trying to find or feel good around or whatever. Now, is this the perfect choice? Of course not. Like, is there a chance that I won't actually end up raising my prices if someone doesn't make money? Is there a lot more stuff to deal with contractually and reporting wise and invoicing wise on top of that? 100%. It's going to be way more to keep track of for my team. And you know what? It's still the best decision for me. And so I'm so excited about that. And I'm so excited that I let myself lean into this idea of like not having it to have it be perfect. Because this really is the best thing that I could have like what ifed it to death. Like, yeah, but like, is it going to be worth the amount of time my team spends on it? And how are we going to fix this and change our contract and do that? Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Rita said you are helping me to raise my rates, and that is by far the best decision for me, but I've been hesitant to actually do this. Like I just did not do this again today. Rita. And that's because I'm trying to make it perfect, but it's exhausting. And now I'm just moving forward on this. So now I'm stealing your mantra. Yes, I love that. I think that totally with you on the moving forward and not being perfect, and totally with you on the, like, just know that the right thing is coming for you, and like having the mantra around that instead of it being around like, where's my perfect choice, right? So that's my best choice is adding a 10% commission to the work I'm doing. That's happening at the end of this year. So if you've been thinking about coaching with me, I have one spot open for November. I had 2, but 1 is gone now. So I'm not being confusing if I just said that. It actually just filled. But I have 1 for November. That's not taking effect yet until the end of the year. So if you've been thinking about it and you want to get in before that 10% gets added on top of that, feel free to reach out and schedule a discovery call. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think it's a win for me. I think it's a win for my clients. I'm so grateful to Megan for being my divine download channel. And I'm so grateful to myself for just being willing to do the best thing. And so that is the gift I would love for you to give yourself this week, this weekend, is to think about how can I just do the best thing, not the perfect thing, and what is the best thing for me. And if you don't know, steal my mantra. I am waiting for a divine download on the best decision around this topic. And let me know what comes up for you. If you guys have questions about this, if you just want to be like, me too, perfectionist here, I totally get it, let me know. And again, if you want to get in before my prices change at the end of this year, let me know and let's talk about that spot I have left for November. So I hope y'all have a beautiful weekend. I hope this resonated. I hope this gives you permission. We need to give ourselves so much more permission. And I hope it keeps you out of decision fatigue. So have a good weekend and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.